Get ready for the ride.
It was a mystery that began 4 months earlier. Christmas Eve, 2002, Modesto, California. 5:17 p.m., Scott Peterson calls Sharon Rocha to tell her that her daughter Lacey is missing. They're expected at Sharon's for dinner in just a little while. Lacey is 8 months pregnant and always reliable. She would never just disappear. Something seems terribly wrong. 48 hours after the missing persons report comes in, police make the hour-and-a-half trip to the Berkeley Marina to check out Scott's fishing alibi. He told police it was raining on the bay on Christmas Eve, but no one else reports even a drop. So now police have caught Scott in a blatant lie, and yet another red flag goes up. Then, on Christmas Day, Scott backs out of a polygraph test he'd promised to take. This has to put Chief Roy Wasden and his men on high alert. But two findings that are even more damning to Scott Peterson. First, investigators discover he bought his boat without telling anyone. Then they learn he researched the tides and currents of San Francisco Bay on his computer. Could he have been trying to figure out the best spot to dump a body? As police execute the search warrant, they see that Scott's moved things around in the 2 days since Lacey disappeared. In his warehouse, they see that the homemade anchor is still there. So is something else that turns out to be incriminating. A pair of pliers with a black hair clamped inside. Detective Brocchini and his colleagues realize they've now got something that they needed desperately. A potential piece of forensic evidence against Scott. TV.
I think everybody sitting at home wants the answer to the same question. Did you murder your wife?
No, I did not. And I had absolutely nothing to do with her disappearance. And
January 28th, 2003. It's been over a month since Lacey disappeared. Now, Scott sits with Diane Sawyer on Good Morning America, and police are watching for what he says and how he says it.
in the mornings, I've been taking the dog down to the park where she walked. And that's like our time. They say nice time together.
Then a real break in early March. Forensic testing proves what the police thought all along. The hair found in the pliers on Scott's boat is consistent with the hair from Lacey's hairbrush. That's the piece that puts it over the top. On March 5th, the police officially reclassify this case a homicide.
As this investigation has progressed, we have increasingly come to believe that Lacey Peterson is a victim of violent crime.
By now, even some of his family are turning against him.
Things really did not add up over and over again. And my husband kept saying, he has to be guilty. This is just not normal behavior.
Then, on April 13th, a gruesome discovery on the northern shore of San Francisco Bay. It's the body of an unborn child. The next day, just 1 mile south, another body washes ashore. After nearly 4 months of working a no-body case, it looks like investigators have what they need to nail Scott Peterson.
When the bodies came, I had a fear he was going to flee.
On the morning of Wednesday, April 16th, Detective Brocchini locates Scott through wiretaps on his cell phone. Scott's been staying in San Diego at a house belonging to the parents of his half-sister, Ann Bird. He's dyed his hair blonde and grown a thick goatee, but he knows he's being watched everywhere. On April 17th, a warrant is issued. It's time to arrest Scott.
Nothing to me.
It's clear that Scott was planning to go somewhere for quite a while. Investigators search his car and find close to $15,000 in cash, 3 credit cards, and camping gear. But there's more. After his arrest, Scott's placed in leg irons and waist chains for the long ride back north to the Stanislaus County Jail. Now the pieces are falling into place. On the ride back to Modesto, the detectives receive a call. DNA results are complete. The woman's body has been positively identified as Lacey Peterson. The baby is indeed Scott's child. The law requires that the next of kin be notified, and ironically, that person is Scott Peterson, now handcuffed in the back of the police car, charged with their murders. Scott Peterson's much-anticipated trial begins on June 1st, 2004, a year and a half since Laci Peterson was reported missing. The trial is a long and grueling one. Defense counsel Mark Garagos pounds the prosecution as it tries to build its case. He's out to discredit some of the police testimony. It's touch and go at times, but in the end, detectives put together the pieces of the circumstantial puzzle for the jury. On November 12, 2004, almost 2 years since that Christmas Eve when Laci Peterson disappeared, the jury returns with its verdict.
We, the jury, in the above entitled cause, find the defendant, Scott Lee Peterson, guilty of the crime of murder of Laci Denise Peterson.
And in the penalty phase, the decision on Scott Peterson's fate is unanimous.
Peterson has been sentenced to death for the double murder of his wife and his unborn son, baby Connor.
Good looking, so refined. Say, wouldn't you like to know what's going on in my mind? So let me get right to the point. I don't pop my cork for every guy I see. Hey, big spender.
CL in the building, baby. We live in Sydney, Australia, you feel me?
A little time with me.